Hi, I'm Sarah of Ink and All. It is a beautiful, beautiful day here in Seattle, so I brought you guys outside today instead of filming in my studio. Um, the theme for this month's Are You Book Enough bookbinding challenge is actually tied to the Guild of Bookworkers theme for their call for submissions, and it's formation. The intent to enter for this call for submissions is due August 15th, so you don't have to have the book done by then, but you do need to submit an intent to enter, or else they won't send you a link to actually submit your work when it is time to submit it. So August 15th, intent to enter. Now, formation is a super abstract topic. It's hard. Thank you, Guild of Bookworkers, for giving us such a challenge. So the things that I have been thinking of when I'm thinking of formation, the first things were like military formations, like drills, and then I thought of rock formations, and I thought of geese flying in a V, you know, that sort of formation. So shapes, lots of shapes and things like that. Other things I thought about were, in order to form a more perfect union, so we've got like the Declaration of Independence. I also thought of sediment and how a rock is formed layer by layer. Well, sedimentary rock is formed layer by layer, and that's a process of formation, a process of creation. And you have, metamorphic rock, which is formed by intense pressure. And igneous rock is formed with incredible heat. And so how would that apply to books? So the things that I thought of, I just recently took a workshop on shifu. That's the word, shifu. So first you spin paper into thread called kami-ito, and then you weave that into a mat or some sort of cloth, and that's called shifu. And that from scratch process of starting out with fibers, spinning it into thread, and weaving it felt like that was that was formation, starting from the very, very beginning. And a long time ago, I took a workshop from a book artist named Rory Golden on how to make your own book board. And the way we did that was by taking old book pages and layering them with glue and laminating them together and building them up until they made a very stiff board. And those processes of starting before the materials you normally get. So mostly you start with binder's board and you start with paper, but instead starting before those steps and making the paper and making the binder's board and letting that be part of the process of making this book. That felt like something that could be inspired by this theme of formation. And another thing I thought was playing around with shape. So the first things that I thought of were shapes. So what shape is this book going to take? And it doesn't need to be a rectangular book. Three Trees Bindery, they do some amazing books out of wood, and they're usually pretty simple, but one of their most recent books they did out of these big pieces of wood, and it's like looking at a tree. And I thought that's a cool formation. So you can play around with the physical shape, you can play around with the process of making the book. You could also play with the content in the book and have the story or whatever you want in that book to be about formation, about processes, about a creative process or a process of becoming, like intense pressure creating a metamorphic rock, or intense heat being igneous rock, or layers and layers of sediment creating a sedimentary rock, and have your content be sort of about that. Or you could have a story that is formed by the reader. manipulated somehow by the person interacting with the book. And you could, there's this style of binding called a wire edge binding, and it's sort of like a piano hinge binding, but fancier, or not fancier, but just uses wire instead of sticks and paper. But the point is that it's a book that you can take apart and put back together in different variations. The books can be reordered, or the pages can be reordered and put together in a different way. So that's one way that you could have a reader or someone interacting with the book actually affecting the story that the book tells. So there's that. Formation. If you wanted to go very poignant, you could discuss formative moments in a person's life or in your life. Moments when you understood who you were, or understood your metal and what you were made of. That'd have to be up to you. I'm thinking of some very personal moments in my life when I thought they were gonna break me and they didn't. And they made me into a different, and I won't say stronger, because I was already strong, but made me into a person who understood myself and my own strength a little bit better. And those, I think, would be good things to explore in a book about formation. Anyway, I hope you guys do submit an intent to enter, because I know we generally focus on just sharing with each other and trying out new things. And this is like a step above, like trying to submit your work for something professional in this instance. But I think it's important to get your work out there and to get it seen by people who don't have any idea what book art is about, because it's a beautiful thing, and I think it can impact a lot of people. See you guys.